morning, you wake up, you dress up for yourself, you show up for yourself, you do the practice, and then you proceed with the rest of the day, Some people can just, go straight into a meditation and be still and do a zazen or like a stillness practice. But for me, it was like yourself. I had my gateway to yoga was through the physical practice.
Yeah.
My teachers have always said, meditation is the highest form of yoga.
I've only done breathwork maybe once or twice.
Okay.
And for me, it was quite difficult. I won't lie.
There's nothing easy about breath. Your breath guides you into wherever you're supposed to go. I was going to do quote unquote it's something, but I'm not going to. It might become controversial. It's not a circus. It's a very private spiritual practice that you can share with others. Get ready to dive in.
I'm ready to dive in.
Good.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Freestyling. We have a very interesting one for you today. I'm with Fiza, a yoga and breathwork teacher, and I'm very excited to talk to you because like I just told you, I have been following her Instagram for I think maybe about a year, 2 years when I first got into yoga. Because initially like I was just YouTubing any sort of yoga video I could find, right? But then I was like, I don't know anything, and most of the time I was inadvertently landing up at like the very complicated level of like I was not at that level. I'm not even flexible. Like I didn't know anything. And then I don't know how it just sometimes Instagram suggestions is actually pretty on point, and it suggested yours. And I was like, oh my God, someone from Pakistan. So maybe this will be better. And it was. Like obviously, I had to like sift through and find something that was at my level, but it definitely was a big part of my journey. And I don't proclaim to be any good at it, but I do enjoy it. Like I don't really care about my level so much as just enjoying it and enjoying the practice.
Of course, yeah. It's about the moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. It took me a while to figure that out, but when I did, I was like, I'm just going to do it and not like have any preconceived notion about it. I think was the most important thing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, what's your origin story before we talk about yoga?
Okay. So I grew up in Karachi. I wasn't born in Pakistan.
Oh,
I was
really?
I was supposed to live in England with my parents. I was born there. I was born in London. And when I was 1, we came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was I guess my grandfather passed away.
Oh,
and
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I mean, that was a long time ago. But
I know, but still.
I hear you. So we came back and that was it. I'm a Karachi girl.
I wasn't born in Karachi, I was born in Lahore, but my entire life was in Karachi. So
Really?
I call myself a Karachi girl now because I love Karachi.
No.
Like,
Once you're in Karachi, you can never be,
anywhere else in Pakistan, in my
it's
opinion.
a magnetic city,
It is.
City by the sea, yeah.
Sorry, every other city, but like, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny because now I recently moved to Islamabad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because of the mountains are closer or whatever, but I have a very complicated relationship with Karachi, actually.
Yeah, doesn't everyone though? I think like that's how it works.
Scene of the crime.
Yeah, no, literally.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
but it's amazing.
Why Islamabad all of a sudden then? Aside from the mountains.
So I was, I grew up in Karachi. I did my schooling here. Then I went to university in the US. I studied, undergrad, grad school. I studied government, actually. I didn't even, it had nothing to do with yoga. And after that, I had to come back to Karachi because my father passed away.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty sudden. But anyways, I was 20 then, came back, ran family businesses. And after 12 years, I sold them. And I bounced. I left again.
Wow.
So I went away for 8 years. I was traveling. I was learning. And that's when yoga came into my life. And
I love
And then I came back 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I vowed never to come back, by the way. Like, I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done with Pakistan. It has too much trauma for me. Bas, मैं जा रही हूँ, like, I'm leaving. And then, of course,
as life
back
would have it.
in Karachi. And a year after being in Karachi, I went trekking to Gilgit-Baltistan, and I went to Shimshal. And after that, I realized I need to live closer to the mountains. So I moved to Islamabad.
I love that.
Moved to Islamabad, and I keep coming back to Karachi. Kya hai? Like, what is this, yaar?
Like it's a magnet of a city,
It really is. It's a sea, The sea air is kind of fluid and doesn't let anything stick, anything good or bad stick.
Interesting.
So it just keeps it flowing. And I think that's what
lovely way to look at it.
It's the only way to look at it. I mean, look at the space, it's a vampire city.
Yeah, no, it really
vampire
is.
space. But it's, the sea has saved us, I believe.
No, it makes so much sense. It's because, like, I don't know what it is. After a certain point, I need to hear and see
Yeah,
the
I hear
water.
you.
You know what it is? Like, I've been to Lahore because my family is there.
So
After,
landlocked.
I know, exactly.
I love Lahore.
I love
It's-
it. But like after a certain point, I'm like, something's missing. I don't know what it is. I can never put my finger on it, but I think this might be it. Like,
Yeah, it is.
You've put it very eloquently, I would say. But yeah, that is the beautiful segue is like after all your journey, why yoga? Like, I mean, was it like a calling, or was it just you maybe went to a class and you just realized? it's
No,
for you?
it wasn't a calling. It was the last thing I expected to be doing is teaching yoga and breathwork.
Yeah.
I was, I grew up in your typical Pakistani privileged family, if I may say so. I do have privilege, and I think it's important to acknowledge it as well in a country of 300
Yeah.
million people where most people don't have it.
Absolutely.
And I was very privileged and went to great schools or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I've heard
colonial
that.
remnants,
Yeah,
yes.
I've heard that my entire life growing up. That's all I've ever heard. You're going to a great school, beta. Don't worry.
Yeah,
everything's great.
it was the typical life of a very uneventful
Yeah.
life of a privileged kid in Pakistani society,
Yeah.
right? Our country has so much to offer, but we are the 1%,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the way it is. So I went to school here and, studied government in college. Like, I wanted to be in geopolitics or either in politics in
Same.
Pakistan.
Same.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
And
fascinating.
then look
And
where
we're
I've
sitting
ended
here
up.
talking now.
I've ended up at City FM 89 talking about either fashion or talking to cool people. So I'd say
I think it's much better.
Yeah, I definitely
I think we
so.
really, what do you call it? We really kind of, we dodged a bullet, man.
Yeah. Honestly, I said
We
that the
dodged a
second
bullet.
I graduated myself. I was like, if anything, I came out so much more cynical and negative after studying my
And it's
first
cynical and it's all theater, man. Look at
Yeah.
the jokes running the world. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I don't even
honestly.
want to share a stage with them. Okay, see, I'm getting political again. Yeah, I have an opinion.
That's just what happens when we studied it.
I have
It's just what
such an
happens.
opinion. Yeah. No, but then I was actually doing my master's and I was studying conflict resolution, national security, all that stuff, all that jazz. And I witnessed pretty horrific incidents. Like, I was in conflict zones and I got PTSD.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
And I couldn't even form a sentence. So I couldn't really speak. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
and this is my adulthood, right? My 30s. And I decided I just saw a yoga teacher's training and I signed up, mostly for myself.
Yeah.
And as a way to regulate my nervous system. And it really helped me. And during that journey, I used to take meds. Like a lot of people, I used to be on SSRIs or mood stabilizers just to manage anxiety or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Modern medicine has a warped way of looking at stuff,
Everything,
right?
yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into that. But so yoga and pranayama and breathwork and, all these holistic kind of ancient ways of being started to change the way I arrived in my body.
Wow.
And it really has been a journey. So I got off meds.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was hard. It's
I
been
can
tough.
imagine. It is always a journey, right? I feel like it's like with modern medicine and then ancient practices, like where can you sort of make them meet in the middle that kind of works for you?
100%. And that's a beautiful way of saying it, honestly, because you cannot abandon one for the
Yeah,
other.
no, yeah.
It has to be a fusion. It has to be a symbiosis almost. And,
yeah.
you
I think
it's
with
about
everything,
balance,
yeah,
right?
Everything in life is balance, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. I mean,
It really is, yeah.
since starting your practice, since teaching, almost centering yourself is very important, right? If you're going to be like sharing it with others. How do you maintain
Right.
that balance, like on or off the mat?
You have to do the practice. You have to do the practice. You have to show up for yourself every single day. And this morning I was talking to a very good friend and a fellow practitioner, and we kind of narrowed it down actually.
Really?
We're like, if you can own, he was saying he had read something from someone else, and he said, if you can own the morning, you can own the entire day, I forget who has actually said this.
Okay, yeah.
It's someone famous, and I forget the name. But anyways, and that really resonated because throughout my practice, that has kind of been the cornerstone because it's been all about the morning. You wake up, you dress up for yourself, you show up for yourself, you do the practice, and then you proceed with the rest of the day, And that's how you show up for others.
Yeah.
So the training is pretty rigorous, you have to learn how to teach. You have to learn how to be, first of all, in your own body. And then you have to learn how to teach. How do you teach, you know? And so, I mean, it goes like...
That's so fascinating when you say you have to show up for yourself, because we're always told to think of others and ourselves last.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest...
I feel like in my life, that's what I realized. Like, I would barely ever think of myself until like now, in the last maybe year or 2 years, where I started my practicing, where I started working out, for instance, where I started actually thinking about my sleeping habits, because I'm a night owl, actually. Morning was not my thing.
Right.
In the last 6 months, it's been... I don't even understand. Like, suddenly I'm waking up, my eye just opens at 8 a.m. and I've never felt better in my life.
You're going with the natural rhythm.
Yeah. But you know, for the longest time, I was doing the exact opposite, because I just thought it was like, okay, everybody else is saying, do things this way.
Of course, that's modern society.
Right? When you're younger, you're looking up to everybody else because you think that everybody knows what they're doing. Until you reach a certain point where it's like, you know, maybe nobody actually knows what they're doing.
No one really does.
And it's
Everyone's
up for me to decide.
Around, you know?
It's up for me to decide, I guess. But, I mean, I started off my mornings with sun salutations. That was, like, the first thing I did.
Great. So, physical practice.
Yeah. Because I was like, how do I warm up before working out? That was initially how I got into
Brilliant.
it. And then, I don't know, I read somewhere it said do, like, 5 minutes of sun salutations.
Right.
And I would feel like the sun is within me by the end of it. Like, I was sweating.
Yeah.
And that's how I got. But then I realized I preferred, like, the more relaxing, like, the cool down where I did, like, 20 minutes where I would hold a pose for, like, at least like 2-3 minutes. That was very challenging for me, because I'd never... Being still, it was just not in my vocabulary.
Stillness, you know, it's a process. Like, it's a process. Like, you have to arrive to it. You can't just dive into it. I mean, some people can, sure. Everyone's different. Some people can just, you know, go straight into a meditation and be still and do a zazen or like a, you know, a stillness practice. But for me, it was like yourself. I had my gateway to yoga was through the physical practice.
Yeah.
And, you know, you asked before, like, how did you find yourself to it and what drew you to it? I've had a lot of physical pain in my body since I was young. And I think it's a lot of stress, and an unregulated nervous system causes different sensations to happen. There was nothing wrong with me, thankfully, but it was just a lot of pain. I was always in a lot of pain, a lot of spasms and a lot of, you know, muscular contractions. And I think it was just stress, right? And as a kid, you also absorb the stress of adults and like, you know, households, etc. And so it was the physical practice that drew me in. And after discovering the physical and doing the practice, you arrive at the stillness afterwards. It's my teachers have always said, meditation is the highest form of yoga. So first is the asanas, which is the postures, or like the physical aspect. Then is the breathwork, which is the pranayam. And then you go into meditation. So it's
interesting.
It's like this little ladder. You know?
I see.
Yeah.
I've never thought of yoga that way, actually. Yeah.
Spiral. I hate ladders. But anyways, it doesn't matter.
Fair. No, but with breathwork, like, how would you say, like, for like someone like myself, I've only done breathwork maybe once or twice, and for me it was quite difficult. I won't lie.
There's nothing easy about breathwork.
Yeah, like, I mean, how would you say, like, one can sort of ease their way into it? Like, my first experience was not good. I'll be honest.
Oh, really?
It kind of
What did you?
It kind of freaked me out because I've started to realize, you know, ups and downs part of the journey. Like, if anything, I learned that I've done it, so I've kind of recognized what it was. I was at a sound bath where we were doing like a cacao ceremony, and I know this. It's not like yoga per se, but like she had said that we'd incorporate breath work.
Got it.
And yeah, it was.
What happened? I'm so curious right now. I just need to know about this.
Like, in the beginning, it was like slower, deeper breaths to slow it down. I felt really good in that. But when we had to up it suddenly, I guess for me, maybe I wasn't expecting that. When I think breath work and like sound baths, I'm just thinking, I don't want to do anything. It's
trippy.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And there's cacao there. Like, you're doing everything together.
Yeah, so I feel like perhaps I did too much too soon. But like, I felt dizzy at a certain point. By the end, it was better, but like in the middle, I
as long as the practitioner who is guiding it, look, it's very normal. It's very normal to get dizzy. It's very normal to suddenly feel like you're panicking.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
It's okay as long as the practitioner or the guide in the room knows how to bring you back and can just see it. Yeah. And that's why guides are there. That's why teachers are there. We're not there to, I don't know, command the stage, but they're to like guide you.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why we're
luckily
there,
she did.
you know?
She did.
Okay, amazing.
It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of just only, I guess, because I wasn't expecting it. I went in with no expectations. I just
Right.
went in to go try it because I was like, I'd gotten into sound baths, I tried Reiki, and I really liked both. So I was like, okay, why not try something else? And I
Reiki
wanted,
is powerful too. I do Reiki as well. Reiki is
I
amazing. It's been an
I
initiation.
honestly love it. I love it. I
it's
genuinely
amazing.
feel like, I don't know what I feel, but I feel lighter afterwards,
Yeah.
I guess, for lack
That's
of a better
the
word.
general sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel great.
Yeah. But, I don't even remember like most of the day after whenever I do Reiki. I don't know why. And I've always been told to just sleep, like hydrate and sleep. And like not,
Amazing.
and
Great
generally when I wake
instructions.
up the next day, oh my goodness gosh, I feel like I've been reborn again. It's like the best sleep I've
That's
ever had
always
in my
good.
life generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there like for you, was there any sort of or with breath work or with yoga, was there a sort of transformational like moment that you felt, or was it like incremental, would you say?
Look, in the physical asana practice, it was, I can say I was 20 when I did my first, I guess I started going to a yoga teacher in Karachi. I was working like this desk job, running the family business. I was kind of miserable, in my body. And I found a yoga teacher and I, just went to her house and I started doing classes. And I was in shoulder stand, I remember. It's an inversion that we do in yoga. And that's when I really felt stuff shift. So it wasn't transformational, but I knew
Yeah.
that my body is coming, like I'm feeling good. Something is shifting. And that's interesting because, shoulder stands are all about the thyroid. So it's your truth center. Or as we call it in Sanskrit, it's Vishuddha. It's one of the chakras. But it's related to your truth. It's got, it kind of controls your metabolism as well. Like there's so much happening here in the thyroid. So it was interesting that as I went into an inversion, I'm like, wow, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Not shoulder stand, but like this practice, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what but transformational, I've had a couple of transformational experiences, like in breathwork especially. In conscious connective breathwork, which is a form of breathwork. It's not very traditional yogic, but it's more modern,
What does it entail?
It's just a continuous breath, inhale and exhale. And you just keep on doing it at a steady pace under the guidance of a qualified practitioner, of course. And you do it for a certain period of time. And you experience certain things, your body's going through chemical reactions and then you're taken in between states. So your breath guides you into wherever you're supposed to go. So it's very, very powerful. So I think that is where I've had a couple of, I was going to do quote unquote it's something, but I'm not going to. It might become controversial. But you know what people say, you experience the God energy.
Fair.
So yeah.
I feel like you've become very aware of the fact that you are a present human being, and that in itself is very powerful.
Or actually, on the contrary, you start to become aware that you're not just a human
It's
being.
out of body eventually.
You're a spiritual being having a human experience. That's what breathwork does.
Fascinating.
You remember who you are. And when you remember who you are, it's a great feeling because you're not just biological and physical and human. And it's not just about evolution and adaptability. You are something so big. And you're part of, entire universe. So yeah, that's why they call it the God breath, I guess.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I love that. I mean, now that I think about it, the way you've described it as being out of body, actually being connected to something like greater than yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like often people don't think of yoga that way. People just think of it as like a means to an end.
Of course, yeah.
Like in your practice, having teaching others, I mean, how do you encourage people to sort of see it the way that you've, come to see it and express self-compassion and being there for yourself amongst being part of something greater?
I mean, how do I, when the person walks in through the door, they're coming in, usually, in my experience, 70% for the physical practice. Now I have students that just come in, hey, I want to heal this. I want to heal this trauma. I have this. And we work at it. And we do it through the breath. We unlock certain, things in the body with the breath and we arrive to it. But how do I encourage? I don't encourage. I say it's a direct experience it. And that's it.
Would you say that's your one piece of wisdom that you would share with everyone?
It's a direct experience.
No, would you say it's like a piece of wisdom would you share with someone who hasn't experienced it?
Who hasn't experienced
Yeah.
it? What would I
Like,
share, you mean?
yeah.
What would I God, wisdom. That's big, man. Wisdom. Am
I was
wise?
feeling it. I was feeling it when you said that, if someone is coming in like as an amateur with no expectations, no experience,
Yeah.
and you had to share one piece of wisdom, that felt like it to me. Like when
It's a direct experience.
Yeah.
It's between you and whatever there is.
Yeah.
It is a direct experience. So whether it's yoga, I mean, yoga literally means union, Yoga.
Really?
Yeah, it means union.
Wow.
And what is,
if anything, I'm showing
Yeah.
how much I don't know actually.
no, it's okay. You're not the first. Come on. Most of us don't know anything. Right?
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I guess my last question would be for you. Is there a misconception anyone has about yoga that perhaps you've encountered or experienced?
It's not postural.
Yeah.
It's not.
So that's the biggest
It's
takeaway.
it's not a circus.
Yeah.
I mean, most people think it's a circus because
Yeah.
of, the rabbit hole, Instagram.
Yeah.
So we're like, just, general, like, I don't want to, like, a lot of celebrities have also made it into a circus of yoga. It's not a circus. It's a very private spiritual practice that you can share with others. The original practice is not even supposed to be done with, mirrors. It's supposed to be,
Really?
of course, that's just a modern day vanity thing.
It feels like more of a Pilates thing, you know what I mean? Like Pilates gym thing. And I feel like people like to
Oh, no, it's
conflate
good.
the
Look,
two.
the mirrors are important. I'm not saying they're not important. They're important for checking alignment. But in yoga, we're taught to see without our eyes, right? We're taught to be and feel and be in the body. Know where you've kept your feet without looking at it,
That really is fascinating.
It is.
I mean, you're making me look at yoga and breathwork in a completely different light, I have to say. I'm
Okay, good.
Thoroughly enjoying
I hope
it.
it's, nicer than what you thought it was.
I personally have always loved it, but I've always struggled to explain to someone else who's unfamiliar with it, what it really means.
It's like an ocean. Just go swimming, and let's get ready to dive in.
I'm ready to dive in.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Could you let people know where we can find you, connect with you?
You can, I guess the easiest way is Instagram. And it's at Yoga with Fiza. And just send me a DM if you're interested in a class.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
Fiza. It was
you.
lovely speaking to you.
It was great speaking to you as well.
So guys, that was another episode of Freestyling. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you for more at City FM 89.